Did you know there are the remains of a shipwreck? Right out here where Ocean Grove and Bradley Beach meet. I just found this out and I had to go digging for more information. Here's what I learned.
The newspaper known as the Philadelphian and Ocean Grove Record called it a first-class sensation. It was the day after Christmas, 1876. At around 6:30 a.m., an Ocean Grove citizen named Louis Rainier was taking a walk when he was surprised to see a 160-foot-long ship running aground on a sandbar about 200 feet off the beach. It was a Norwegian vessel, a bark. The three-masted bark was the most common type of deep-water cargo carrier in the middle of the 19th century. The vessel was named the Rjukan, after a town in her native Norway. She was headed from London to New York in ballast when a northeasterly gale blew her towards the beach. She hadn't always been a cargo ship. Earlier in her career, she'd carried immigrants between Norway and Canada and Great Britain and New York. As a matter of fact, I managed to find this passenger list from the Rjukan when she sailed in 1868. When the Rjukan struck the sandbar, her mainmast fell, and then her foremast. Her sails and spars were hanging over her side. It must have been a dramatic and frightening sight, especially with crew members scrambling on deck, shouting and waving desperately for help. Mr. Rainier called for help. A messenger was sent to a nearby station of the U.S. Life-Saving Service, Station Number 7, which was located on the Shark River. The U.S. Life-Saving Service would eventually join with similar organizations to become the U.S. Coast Guard in 1915. I was able to piece together what happened from eyewitness reports. A surfman from the Shark River Life-Saving Station did show up, but he didn't bring a lifeboat with him. He said the wagon they used to pull their lifeboat had gotten stuck in the sand. Then he took one look at those rough seas and said, I'd better get someone from Station Number 6 in Asbury Park to help me out. And he started to run off. But by this time, a number of citizens had gathered on the shore, and one of them said, "Hey, surfman, wait, where are you going? Why aren't you doing anything to save the men on this ship?" And supposedly the Shark River gent replied, "What, in that surf? No way will a boat make it through those breakers." And just then they saw a brave and capable-looking man running down the beach. A gentleman in the crowd pointed and said, and I quote, "Now there's a man that will go to her." That man was Russell White, with his brother Drummond White following close behind. The Whites had been a part of the community for a long time. In fact, Ocean Grove was built on their land. The Whites sold tracts of their property to the Ocean Grove Camp Meeting Association and to James Bradley, who developed Asbury Park. Russell and Drummond White, or Drum as he was known locally, were both experienced seamen. As they ran to the scene, Russell spied a yawl boat on the beach and immediately put it into service. Eventually, the keeper from the Shark River Life-Saving Station did come back, and this time he had a lifeboat. But he wasn't interested in being a hero. Instead, he handed the boat over to the White brothers and said, No, that's okay. You guys look like you've got this. I'll just watch from back here." People from the neighborhood came out to watch, about 500 of them, causing someone to remark that even though it was the wrong time of year, it looked like the camp meeting was having a surf service. Throughout the afternoon, the beach became strewn with debris from the wrecked ship, including pieces of joiner work, rigging, chest, bedding, tools, and clothing. Some men and boys came out to scavenge for valuables and souvenirs. This would not have been a strange sight to Drum White. When he was a boy in 1854, a ship called the New Era wrecked off the coast of Asbury Park, and 300 German immigrants lost their lives. Among the debris washed ashore from the New Era, young Drum found a brush, the kind used to brush lint from clothing. Its bristles were white, except down the center, where some black bristles spelled out the German surname Koch, K-O-C-H. It was probably similar to this brush that spells Chilvers. Drum White kept and used the brush for the rest of his life. On the day of the Rjukan Shipwreck, the White brothers worked 18 hours straight without food, making perilous boat trips back and forth between the wreck and the shore. And they saved the lives of all 20 crewmen on board. This wasn't the first rescue for Russell White. Earlier that same year, Drum had taken 2 visitors from Abner Allen's boarding house in Asbury Park on a fishing excursion. The 3 men got tangled in fishing lines, but fortunately, Russell saw what was happening from the shore. He set out immediately and rescued them, and he was given a gold medal for it. A year later, Drum would assist in the rescue of the brig Etta M. Tucker, which was carrying a cargo of coffee from Rio de Janeiro to New York. And when Ocean Grove added a steam launch to carry passengers over Wesley Lake, Drum White was put in charge. Of course, that was only a 15-minute voyage round trip, much less chance there for Drum to demonstrate his bravery. Just a few days after the wreck of the Rjukan, on January 6, 1877, what was left of the ship's wood was auctioned off. The lucky bidder was G.W. Patterson and Company of Asbury Park, which paid $140. We actually know what some of the Rjukan's wood was used for. It was used to build a wooden plank sidewalk in front of Dr. Kinman's Pharmacy on Cookman Avenue in Asbury Park. Dr. Kinman's Pharmacy was right about here at the corner of Cookman Avenue and Kinmouth Alley. The Rjukan rescue was a source of controversy in the coming months. The Asbury Park Journal criticized the men of the Shark River Life-Saving Station for their, quote, tardiness and inefficiency at the scene of the disaster. That prompted a member of Shark River Station to burst into the office of another newspaper, the Red Bank Standard, and complain to a reporter there that his crew had been unjustly treated in the columns of the Asbury Park Journal, and he was greatly aggrieved. But the Asbury Park Journal stood by their criticism. And in the meantime, Captain Merriman, a bigwig at the U.S. Life-Saving Service, made an investigatory trip to Ocean Grove. There was a hearing. Affidavits were taken from eyewitnesses, and the Rjukan's Captain Hansen was questioned. He blamed everything on the pilot, Phillips. Life-Saving Station Number 7 from Shark River was exonerated from all charges of tardiness and inefficiency. Today, what's left of the wreck has settled underwater off the jetty just south of Newark and Ocean Avenues in Bradley Beach. This map was provided by Captain Dan Berg of aquaexplorers.com. He runs charter diving cruises to the sites of New Jersey shipwrecks. This is Captain Berg investigating the remains of the Rjukan. He says there are still some ballast stones scattered around the wreck site, as well as wood planking held together by brass spikes, like this one. To learn more about shipwrecks in New Jersey, visit Captain Dan Berg's website, aquaexplorers.com, and buy his books.